Hey everyone, welcome to Dad's Den of Pop Culture. We have a book review today, as you can clearly see. Jarret Keene, Stagecoach to Oblivion. This is the third part of a trilogy of Kid Crimson books. Actually, I guess I should put them this way to get them more in order. Gunpowder Mountain, The Guns of Goblin Valley, Stagecoach to Oblivion. I have reviewed the other two on this channel. Now it's time to review the finale. Good book. I found it a page turner, one of those where I genuinely, sometimes I do this with books, I have to slow myself down. I start skimming paragraphs because I want to see where something's going, because generally I'm invested in the characters. And that was true of this book and of the series. So, Kid Crimson is a gunfighter in the Old West in Virginia City, Nevada. This is set during the Civil War, and the other two books involved the Civil War, involved him working for Union interests, even though he's not necessarily on the side of North or South. His primary desire is to earn money so he can move himself and the ones he loves to a citrus ranch in California. He wants to raise grapefruit and be with the people he loves. And so the powers that be in Virginia City obviously are aligned with the Union, keeping the silver mines operating for Lincoln. So that's where the money's coming from. So he does what he has to do. So in Stagecoach to Oblivion, the book opens with him on a stagecoach with one of the stagecoach drivers. Let's see, Hank Monk. Had to look for a second to get the name right. One of the great stagecoach drivers. They're heading back into Virginia City. They stop at a way station and witness a terrible, terrible crime. Let me read just a little bit from the opening here. You can see I have these really high-tech bookmarks that I made out of Kleenex. It gets the job done. So let me read this just to, again, I always like to read a little passage here and there so you can get a sense of the writing, etc. So this occurs as they get to the way station, and they're calling out to the people who run the place. Our ears pricked up at the distracting noise of a boot scraping the wooden floor of the station, and soon a man, skinny, bearded, dust-ravaged, was standing in the open doorway, his Schofield leveled at me. In the moment, I realized he'd made the sound to signal his accomplice in the crapper. "Hit him, Hank," I yelled, dropping to the ground as the man at the door fired a shot that sent my black flat-brimmed hat flying off my skull. Hank and I blasted our guns simultaneously, my shot missing, yet splintering the door frame, causing my target to retreat back into the station. I sprang up and got enough momentum to leap onto the porch. Lowering my shoulder, I rammed the door as it started to swing shut. Already cracked from use, it broke into 3 pieces as I tumble-rolled into the main room and saw the man with the Schofield flipping a table for cover. Get a lot of good action scenes in this series. Now, the crime scene that they discover, it turns out those guys shooting at him weren't involved. Rather, it's a group of Texan mercenary bandits called the Annihilators. That leads to one heck of an adventure. Now, one of the things I like with this book, and this has been going on through the series, is Jarret, he does build a sort of family structure around Kid Crimson. And it's only more enveloping in this third book because rather now than having a girlfriend named Poppy who runs an opium den in Virginia City, she's now his wife and she's expecting his first child. He's also essentially adopted 2 other kids, Sarah, a Paiute girl who has an amazing ability with animals, and Ezra, a black shoeshine boy who is kind of like almost adopted by everybody in Virginia City, but specifically with Kid Crimson. So the stakes keep getting higher. In the earlier books, Kid Crimson has gone through a very rough childhood and a very rough life. And he's very good at fighting and he's very good at killing. And there's sort of a monster inside of him. And many times he says, you know, he almost wants to die in a gunfight. But now he's got people relying on him in a big way. And that really informs this book, because in Stagecoach to Oblivion, the danger level turns up quite a bit, because he's not only dealing with the Annihilators, who murderous maniacs, but not real brainy. No, he's also dealing with his own father, the man responsible for a great deal of the abuse and heartache in his life. And he knows what his father's capable of, and he knows it's all on the line. Let me read another little excerpt here. This is when he first comes face to face with Carson Crimson, who is a member, maybe even the leader of a group, I want to say the Knights of the Golden Circle, racist Confederate group that wants to, to be honest with you, they want to take over the whole world. They're not necessarily even fighting for the Confederacy. They're fighting for themselves. So a very dangerous man. Let me read when he first shows up. You get a little description of what he looks like. The mist of gun smoke dissipated, and the man revealed himself, holding the rifle with one hand and standing with the help of a cane, gold alligator jaws decorating its head. He wore a tailored cotton frock coat, the color of burgundy, and a high collar and brass buttons, reflecting both status and refinement. Beneath the coat was a crisp white linen shirt with ruffled cuffs. His waistcoat, intricately patterned, was polished wool, along with his trousers. His leather boots were high-heeled and pointed. His appearance was the paragon of southern elegance and sophistication, disguising a heart utterly shriveled and blackened by a twisted lust for money and power, for watching people submit to his demented fantasies, and then die. This man, I said, wiping blood from my mouth with the back of my hand, is my father. So you have a story with very high stakes. Kid Crimson has a lot to live for and a lot to protect, and that means a lot that makes him vulnerable. And he's facing the worst villain that he's ever faced, the man he thought he had escaped, the man who abused him in his childhood, the man who committed many, many horrors, Carson Crimson. So that makes for a hell of a good story, and definitely generated in me a desire to see Carson Crimson brought to justice in potentially the most horrible, disgusting way possible, because this dude's bad news. And you've been reading about him for the last two books. Now, we also get to meet another character, Clementine Dunn. You see her on the cover there. She is a woman who's been writing dime novels about Kid Crimson. She's come out to learn more about this guy up close. She presents some very interesting angles and curves to the story. I won't say any more about that. And I'm not going to tell you how this thing ends, because I'll tell you what, when I started out with it, I was worried. Last two, action, adventure, and the good guys won. Were the good guys going to win? Were the good guys going to get out of this one, 100% fully intact? I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure right up until the end what was going to happen, how this thing was going to go down. That's why it was such a great page turner. The other thing I liked about this one is that Kid Crimson takes a fair amount of damage starting very early. And it's not like he's healing up as he goes. He keeps taking damage on damage on damage. The man at the end is not at 100%. He's maybe not even at 70%. And yet he has to press on to the best of his ability. I like that. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark, just the punishment that he's taking throughout the story. And it does have an impact in this one. So Stagecoach to Oblivion, great book. The capper to a really great trilogy of Western adventure novels, along with, whoops, let me get them in again, sort of in order, The Guns of Goblin Valley and Gunpowder Mountain. Fun books. I'm really glad that I got all three of them, that I read all three of them. If you like Western action, if you like Jonah Hex, maybe a little bit comic booky, but also with a good eye to the time period. I can't say, it's perfectly accurate on everything, because I wouldn't know if it was, but it has the right feel to it for sure. Rousing stories, a lot of nice character moments, a lot of nice character relationships, people that you care about, that you root for, that you worry about. I don't think you can ask for a whole lot more in these kind of books. So thumbs up to Stagecoach to Oblivion. Thumbs up to the entire Kid Crimson trilogy. Go out, find them. They're on Amazon. Give them a read. If you like the genre, I think you'll like these books. I had a great time with them. That'll do it for this review. If you have any thoughts on the trilogy, if you have any thoughts on this book, if you have any questions, throw them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer without spoiling everything for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe, share with a friend. Hit the little bell thing, the notification bell. I never say that before, but I guess maybe I should. I don't know. If you want to watch these videos, you'll find them on YouTube. I do 3 a week. Mondays, I'm doing Justice League International reviews. Wednesday and Saturday, I do other reviews. They vary. I love pop culture. I try to cover as much of it as I can, especially vintage pop culture. So, without any more ado, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. And hopefully I'll see you again soon in Dad's Den of Pop Culture. Bye-bye.